SBC. Low compression SBC. Every time I drive this thing, I'm reminded of how much I love it. It's funny because I had a point where I didn't want to build this thing. I had the engine all built and it was ready to go in, but I was overwhelmed and I didn't want to start it because I didn't think I'd ever be able to finish it. And then I started driving it again and realized that it's just too fun to drive to not do it. And there's also a lot of other stuff wrong with the truck that I thought would make it like unusable. And I really want to use my projects, but you know what? Those can be done incrementally, and that's what's gonna happen, hopefully. So this is where it's spent most of its life, is just on this dirt road right here. It's a very special place to me. This is like about a quarter mile away from my house. In fact, my house is just down there. This is the road that I learned to drive on, pretty much. It's the testing grounds for all of my projects, so that's pretty fun. Pretty sure that dirt mark right there was me on my buggy. Yeah, that was me. I figured I'll rip a burnout, because why not? All right, and since this engine's coming out and I don't have any plans for it, I'm really not afraid to blow it up. So, here we go. Too shabby. My neighbors are gonna love me for that. I'm actually friends with all my neighbors. They like me, they just might not like the loud tire screeching outside. Oh, okay. All right, I can do that. Well, after cutting a rusted part of the fender liner, it still doesn't want to come off, so the next logical solution would be... Oh, there's a bolt right there. Oh, I missed something. I did it! 2, 1, go. Go. Yes. Oh, sweet. That's all, folks. Oh yeah, it's coming right out. Look at that. Okay. That was a lot easier than the LS and the 6L80 trans. Okay, the sending unit is all put together. Fuel pump, little rag right here to keep the fuel from starvationing, because that's a word. Little 2 wires right here that control the fuel pump, obviously, and the gasket. Pretty simple. A lot simpler than I thought it would be, which is usually what happens when I tackle things that I don't know how to do. It's usually simpler than I think. Okay, so next up we are going to be tackling this stupid steering box. When I bought this truck, I was 16. The guy that sold it to me let me drive 30 miles home with a unbolted steering box. I'm going to dig around and find the picture. This is what it looked like when I drove it home. 30 miles on tight back roads. I'd never driven an American car before. I had no idea how it was supposed to handle. Not like that. So I didn't know that the frame cracks right here at the time, so I welded on this terrible plate. It's like a kit that they sell you, but I didn't know what I was doing at the time, so it's super far away from the frame. I welded some serious gaps down there. It is just terrible. I did it on my glorified soldering iron, my little 100 amp Lincoln at the time. So I'm gonna go to crossover steering sometime. But maybe not now, but for sure I have to redo the welds and redo this plate while the engine is out, because that just makes it so much easier. So I'm trying not to go too crazy, because big projects start when you're like, well, I'm already in here, so I might as well do this. Like right now I could say, well, I've already got the front end off, so might as well take the cab off and redo everything up there. I can't do that. If I do that, this thing will never get done. Keep it simple. So I'm going to take the steering box off and everything else off related to it, and then I'm going to cut off the support plates that I welded in a few years ago. That's going to be a pain in the butt. That's going to be an absolute nightmare. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. So this is going to suck, but needs to be done. Yeah, just a little smoky. I'm sure this is great for my lungs. Okay, so I couldn't get the bell housing and flex plate and the torque converter to all fit up. I thought it was all bolt-on. It wasn't. That wasn't as simple as I thought it was. So I could have bought a 4L80 flex plate and then like mitered out the torque converter holes a little bit. That would have worked. I didn't want to do that just because doing stuff like that just makes everything not fit together as good, gives you loose ends. It's better to spend the time and money. This was like 50 bucks on Amazon or something. So this plate, I'm pretty sure, bolt directs to everything. I saw a video of a guy doing it with his kids with a 5.3 LS and a TH350. And it just bolted right up. So I just bought it without doing any more research. So let's hope it's right. But yeah, so the flex plate and the fastener should be in here. So I'll open it up, get it bolted on, and then I'm still waiting for the mandrel to adapt the torque converter to this flex plate, and then we can adapt the trans and the engine. So I think one of the most important things about this flex plate is that it jets out a little bit. So the plate doesn't sit flat. It kind of bumps out a little bit, which is what the TH350 torque converter requires. So you see how it's like, it's not flat, it jets out here a little bit. I'm pretty sure that's the main part of this. Okay, so I'm soon gonna have to adapt the transmission to the engine. This transfer case is the bane of my existence. It's like the same size as the transmission, and it weighs at least 3 times the weight. And it is just the biggest pain in the butt to move around. I don't know how I'm gonna adapt the transmission to this. It just makes it impossible to move. So I'm just gonna take it off. I'm just gonna take these bolts off, take it off, and then it should be smooth sailing from there. And then I think probably once this is all in the truck, then I'll put the T-case back on. We'll see, but this thing, it's got to go. I can't work with it. I've also got to flip the transmission over again to fix the parking pawl and put all these back on the trans pan. So I've just got some things to do, and this thing is in the way. So I'm going to take it off real quick.
Come on. Okay.
Here we go. Okay, here is the part I was looking for. It is this little guy right here, this little piece of machine metal. I definitely could have made that. Okay, so this thing goes right here somewhere. Oh, like that. So it fits on like that. So all this acts as is a spacer, just a little spacer between the flywheel and the transmission for clearance reasons that I don't know, but I know I needed it. So, yep. Here we go. This is probably gonna be a lot harder than I think it's gonna be. at that. Go spinny, spin, spinner. There it is. I'm installing the torque converter bolts. So you see how the torque converter is just spinning in here? You see this part right here that lines up with that hole? I gotta put a bolt through there, and then that's it. Okay, torque converter bolts right there. I'm putting those on with some of this cherry flavored juice, Loctite. I'm putting like a dab of this on it because I don't want those to be super duper pooper scooper permanent, but I do need them to be on there tight. So, time lapse. Okay, so this is the cross member. As you can see, it is like just caked with grease. Like if I scrape it with my glove finger right here, it's like a ½ inch of grease. It's bad. So as you can see, these rubber mounts are absolutely just demolished. Look at that. I can peel the rubber off. So I ordered these new shiny Prothane mounts. So gonna get these off, put this in my parts cleaner, and get these on. So one more thing checked off the list. Let's go. Okay, these are the gas tank straps, and this one broke off, so I need to weld on a new bolt or something like that. So, something like that. You'll see.